Twitch sent me the same thing and I threw it away because I was pissed off.
Hey YouTube, welcome back to another try-on for dolls.
Do they have gyms out there?
Oh, hey everybody, I'm just examining my dungeon squares.
So, Ludwig wants Twitch to end? Like, for good? I mean, at this point, are we really that surprised? It's pretty obvious that Ludwig and Twitch have a toxic relationship, shall we say? Ludwig is one of those rare streamers that has managed to make a name for himself without resorting to petty drama. Well, except for that. I mean, you know that one time he accidentally got in a fight with Aiden Ross for no reason. We're just gonna glaze over that. But other than that, he's managed to keep himself out of any serious trouble. But that might be set to change pretty soon. See, Ludwig hasn't exactly made it a secret that he has beef with the way Twitch runs things, and he took it one step further on an episode of his podcast. On this particular episode of The Yard, Ludwig starts hinting that a bunch of Twitch streamers are getting ready to abandon the platform altogether and move over to YouTube gaming. About an hour into the episode, they move on to talking about Dr. Lupo, a streamer who has already signed a contract with YouTube. They don't really get into any specific details, but Ludwig does say
he just signed with YouTube exclusively, which I will say, there's gonna be a bunch more people soon.
But I've got to ask, does anyone else feel it kind of hilarious that a lot of the big gaming YouTubers from around 2012 moved over to Twitch because it was the better platform, and now they're all crawling back to YouTube for the same reason? No, it's just me. Okay. This coupled with the news that Tim the Tatman has also signed a contract with YouTube Gaming, as well as Nick Merckx hinting he'll also be making the move pretty soon. Yikes, it's not looking good for Twitch right now, folks. So, why is everyone suddenly trying to move away from Twitch? Well, there's the entire mods being complete assholes drama, the copyright drama, channels getting banned drama, but apart from all those, Twitch is kind of becoming a dangerous place to be on. Well, according to Ludwig has called them out for failing to protect their users from the effects of doxing. Doxing is a really serious crime, and it can literally put people's lives in danger. So it's no wonder that Ludwig took the issue seriously when he spoke out about it during one of his live streams. He talked about how Amaranth used to get swatted all the time whenever she streamed out in public, and how she'd eventually found a way to stop that from happening. He then went on to mention that in August 2021, someone literally tried to burn her house down while she was at home. Yikes! And that's not all. He then went on to talk about how XQC was forced to move out of his own home because the daily swatting got so bad. He was genuinely scared for his own life. And Ludwig had also mentioned an unnamed streamer who bought a house under a different name purely so people wouldn't be able to find them.
I talked to another streamer, this is true. They said the one thing that they knew to do, they changed their name. That's insane. That's terrifying.
I mean, if all of this has been going on right under Twitch's nose, with no sign of them trying to protect their biggest users, then is it really that surprising that people want to leave? How many more times does someone need to have their safety put at risk before Twitch realizes they need to do something? And on top of that, YouTube is offering them more money. So, yeah, I think we all know where most of us would be going. Oh, and speaking of safety, can someone please help Jinny out? She just cannot seem to stop herself from getting into trouble. Jinny is an IRL streamer, which basically just means that she streams while she's out exploring cities most people can only ever dream of going to. Not only is Jinny well known for being a streamer, she's also pretty well known for, well, let's just say that she's had some pretty strange things happen to her on the stream, and it's, like something new every single day. Now, as you already know, Jinny is currently in Europe, touring a bunch of the major cities, and she was in Milan a couple of days ago and ran into some trouble when a bunch of literal kids decided that it would just be okay to throw drinks at her. We're in the middle of a global pandemic. Not that it would make it okay if we weren't, but still. Obviously, she immediately confronted the kids about whether they were the ones responsible, and they not only openly admitted that they were the ones who'd done it.
What was that? Someone threw something at me. Did you do this? Did you do this?
Yes.
Then they did it again!
You did it! Did you do it again? Okay. Okay.
Naturally, she was pretty upset about it, as I think most of us probably would be, and decided to approach the police. Except when she approached 2 police officers to complain about the kids' actions, the cops literally just ignored her.
Kids all the way over there, like throwing some stuff. No English. Okay. They just left.
I know language barriers can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but to have a woman come up to you clearly upset about something and decide that it's not worth your time? Yikes, buddy! After the kids ran off, the owner of the drink stand told her that she wasn't the only person they'd done it to. They'd thrown stuff at him too. Glad to know kids are unholy terrorists no matter where in the world they live. And that's not the only weird thing that's happened to Jinny on stream recently. When she was waiting for her Uber driver to show up one time, this creepy dude came up to her and started trying to get her into his car. When Jinny refused, this guy literally tried to force her to get into his car, saying stuff like,
"Yeah, I was about to go to New York. Do you want to ride?"
It's
Save
okay.
money.
It's okay. It comes
Don't
in
take
through.
the Uber. They like crazy, you know? They like talk to you and shit. Like you want like a normal person.
I don't think being that insistent about getting a young woman into your car when she's by herself is something normal people do, dude. Especially if you're trying to avoid being on camera. I mean, he eventually went away after she told him that she had more than enough to pay for her own Uber, but still, gross. It's a good thing she has all of that money though, because it turns out that she needs it for more than just Ubers. Jinny was victim to yet another streaming blunder when she stopped off in Berlin again. During one of her live streams, she came across a street performer doing the same old trick we've seen 1,000 times. You all know the one. Someone tells you to keep your eye on the ball and places under a cup, and then they switch it all around.
Okay.
Open the box, please.
No!
Now, her chat immediately knew that something was fishy about this because, well, it's pretty obvious that this kind of thing is a scam, right? People have been pulling this trick since ancient Greece. It's not exactly new. But apparently, Jinny never got the memo because she approached the guy and agreed to up the ante when he told her that it would cost 120 euros to play. And instead of realizing that this was a setup, Jinny agreed to play.
Let's play.
Her chat was screaming at her to stop and realized that it was a scam, but she either didn't see them telling her not to do it or she just decided to ignore them. Either way, she ended up 120 euros poorer that day. And finally, let's talk about XQC's public takedown of Felicia Day. So this all started when Felicia Day decided that she was going to go on a bit of a Twitter rant about Twitch. She started off by saying, "I checked out some of the biggest channels in the recommended column on your website last night. I heard the C word and the N word dozens of times." She also said that she'd come across multiple channels where the content being promoted was of men hurling verbal nastiness at women. She then went on to clarify that the reason she found it so shocking in the first place was because she hadn't even logged into her account. This was all just something that anybody with an internet connection would be able to find. And okay, to be fair, these are actually all very valid points, so long as you have the evidence to back up your claims, especially when you consider the fact that there are a lot of children on Twitch. Except she didn't have any evidence, or at least she didn't provide any in her initial tweet, which is where XQC comes in. He responded to her initial tweet saying, "Wrong on all accounts, post proof or delete the tweet." This sparked off something of a confrontation between the two of them, with Felicia trying to defend herself by explaining that she hadn't even been talking about XQC. Not that it really did any good, because he quickly followed up his first tweet with another one saying, "I was just wondering if you had the receipt so we could hold the people responsible for their actions." Which is also a pretty valid point. It's all well and good to make these kind of statements, but if you can't provide any names, then how are people going to know who to look out for? Especially when you directly tag the platform in your first tweet. There are millions of users on Twitch. How are they meant to know who you're talking about if you don't directly tell them? Some people seem to think that Felicia might have stumbled across one of Aiden Ross's streams, but there's no real proof of that because she hasn't talked about it since. In fact, it seems as though XQC's callout got to her because she deleted her original thread. Maybe trying to find any actual evidence was just too hard. But what do you guys think? Is Ludwig right? Are we going to see a bunch more streamers move over to YouTube gaming? Was XQC out of line when he called out Felicia Day, or was he right? Let us know in the comments below.